Now, there's so many great characters in One Piece that we all love to talk about. We love to talk about Luffy, Zoro. I mean, we all know that if there's a Zoro video, it's gonna get clicks. We talk about characters like Kaido, like Sanji, Usopp. So many major characters who always get so much shine. But today we're going to talk about one of the greater, I'm probably going to have to convince you, great characters in One Piece, who is also a minor character, and that is Flampe. Yes, we are dedicating an entire video to Flampe. Now, of course, you probably got questions, and maybe some of you clicked on this wondering, what is he talking about? I'm not sure what I decided to name the video at this point. I was thinking why Flampe is a great character, so maybe that's why you clicked on it. If I named it that, maybe you clicked on it just trying to humor yourself. Maybe you thought it's a joke video. I don't know. But now that you're here, it's a serious video talking about why Flampe is a great character, and there's just so many reasons, right? There's so many things we can dive into. And I think one thing that will help you definitely in understanding why Flampe is a great character is subscribing to this channel. If that button is still red, I don't know what you're waiting for. And also, for those who are worried about spoilers and, all those kinds of things, you're not caught up, you're watching the anime, you're worried about the manga, that will be in the description below, and you can check that. You can do your research, make sure that you're up to date. But if you're up to date, if you don't care, if you just want to watch anyway, you don't care about spoilers, let's get into it. Right now, Flampe doesn't actually get that much shine because of how she's perceived. A lot of people don't like her, and of course it's easy not to like Flampe. Look at how she is. Look at how quickly she turned her back, how much attention she wants from her brothers, from her family in general, how she views herself in comparison to her siblings, to other people. And it's easy to just feel like, Flampe, if Flampe was in the real world, you would not want to actually be friends. I mean, yeah, it's like, having a shonen character in the world, it's often like, well, they wouldn't exist in our world, but like, Flampe is someone who you could actually see existing in the world today, and you probably wouldn't actually like her, right? And a lot of people, they don't like her, they don't want to talk about her, they like to talk about characters who they genuinely like. But Flampe is great because we don't like her. That is what is actually fantastic. Of course, we talk about the fact that and that's the first thing right off the bat, like, if you actually feel so strongly about a character, most likely they're doing something right. Unless you're feeling very strongly in the opposite direction about a character, right? So we're supposed to like the character, but you strongly hate them. Then we could argue whether stuff is going wrong or right for that character. But Flampe is clearly someone we're not supposed to like, and if we do not like her, if you hate her with a passion, she is doing her job. She is a great character. And let's, talk a bit more about why. And I think the first thing I'll say is that Flampe is actually a character that makes way more sense than most of the other characters in Whole Cake Island. Not all, most. Most of the characters in Whole Cake Island don't make nearly as much sense and are not as well, I'll just say well written as Flampe is. And the reason for that is very clear when you look at the structure and what made Whole Cake Island what it is today in the story. And a big part of that is not only Big Mom, but her children, right? When Big Mom was coming up, of course, a long time ago, there was no Totland. There was just Big Mom and her dream of having this grand tea party. And over time, she formed the Big Mom Pirates, mostly composed of family members. And these family members helped build her family. Over time, there were more family members added. And we get to, 8 years ago, Big Mom had a last kid. And, more or less, we have the Totland that we have today. It's been many decades in the making, but that's what we have. And I think a big thing, and this also relates to the whole Katakuri dilemma, is the changes that go on in this family as you go from what Big Mom once had, which was no territory, to having this vast country, essentially. I don't know if you can call it a country. I think it's bigger than a country, but this vast territory. And of course, when she started this off, there was nothing. And so a lot of the older children in the Big Mom Pirates had to work, which is why we find that most of the stronger characters in the Big Mom Pirates are the older siblings. right? While most of the weaker ones are the younger siblings because they didn't have to fight for it, right? So now when you're looking at the character, you look at Flampe, she is actually the oldest child after all the little kids that we see. There's that one scene where we see all the youngest Big Mom family members in this one room, and Flampe is actually the youngest child after those little kids. And when you look at her character, what she's grown up in with Totland, all this new stuff, all this great privilege, safety, the fear of the Big Mom pirates themselves. She has older brothers and older sisters who she can look up to. And obviously, at some point, you have to realize that that's going to make her fundamentally different to brothers like Perospero, who literally had to build Totland from the ground up, right? And obviously, you can see that she has so much privilege, but she, compared to all her brothers and sisters, she is the one that makes the most sense for that, right? Look at people like Muscaporn, Joscaporne, like Anana. Yes, the kids show that they are very carefree, but they're also just kids. But Flampe actually shows it in just how, much she doesn't care. You've got an enemy pirate here who obviously worth a lot. Yes, your family members are very great fighters. And, compared to them, he's not worth that much. But she is so nonchalant and so sure of herself that she can support her brother when... correct me if I'm wrong, Flampe doesn't even have a bounty. She's not even worth anything. And she's so carefree and she thinks that it's okay, I'm going to attack a guy with a 500 million berry bounty because she's grown up in this safe environment where she can just do whatever and it's all right. Right? A lot of the other siblings, they tend to watch themselves, especially when Luffy was around, especially when stuff started happening, they tended to be more scared and more concerned. But even Flampe, a lot of stuff happened. And even, when we had the whole reveal with Katakuri's mouth and she was, making fun of him, that is a situation in which most people would think in the One Piece world that this is not the time to laugh. Right? The chefs themselves saw Katakuri's face for the first time and those guys were scared to death. She saw Katakuri's face and was like, she had no sense of danger, essentially, right? And when you look at that and just how much it's shaped by the environment that she's in, she perfectly reflects all the privilege that she has. And now when you look at her older brothers and older siblings, it makes even more sense looking at the world that we live in today, right? The message that's going on with Flampe and who she is as a character compared to the people that we have living in our world, in our society, especially in Western society and, first world countries, right? Because you have people, you have characters, like I said, in the Big Mom Pirates. You have the older siblings, younger siblings. Older siblings built the Big Mom Pirates, built the territory, made the name Big Mom Pirates what it is today alongside Big Mom herself. And then you have the younger siblings who really didn't do much. They just showed up and everything was there. It was handed to them. And when you look at the world, it's a bit of the same thing. Right? You have people who, all the way back then, 20th century, earlier 20th century, people who fought, people who built the countries, all these first world countries, all the revolutions, all the industrial stuff that happened, all the inventions, and made everything that we have today. But then you have people born not too long ago, in the past couple of decades, who've really just grown up with everything, right? Technology, internet. And it seems that, with this privilege, with all these advantages, it seems you've gotten a more, shall I say, carefree. You can get terms like first world problems and all these kinds of things, terms that people throw out. You got the perspective. People talk about society today. And I don't really want to get into all the controversies with, different topics that we have today. But when you look at it as a whole, the problems that were faced a long time ago were more life and death, whereas the problems we face today are, in comparison to life and death, I'll say they're not as deep in comparison to life and death, right? And it's the same thing with Flampe. You have characters like Katakuri and Perospero who really literally faced life and death to make Whole Cake Island. And then you have Flampe, whose biggest issue is that somebody about the way somebody looks, right? Her biggest issues are about, taking photos, being liked by people. I mean, if this is starting to sound familiar, then you're just realizing how great Oda is. But those are Flampe's problems. And when you think about Flampe in that scenario, you realize that, look, Flampe, as much as bad of a character she is, she's really reflecting the kind of priorities and the kind of outlook a lot of people today have, in that they're not very invested in major issues, right? They're not very invested in other people as well. They're more invested in themselves. They're more invested in, what their image looks like, who they know. Does it reflect well on them? Does it not reflect well? I'm not here to talk about whether that's good or bad. I'm just talking about it as it is, right? Sometimes, there's deeper stuff, and we all understand the world we live in today. But Flampe perfectly represents that in the One Piece world. But yeah, that's about it from me. Talking about Flampe, I can't believe it's already like 11, 12 minutes now, but talking about Flampe, how great of, a character Oda has crafted here. Now, if this video has made you think about Flampe a bit more, see a bit more that you didn't actually stop to think about beyond the fact that I don't like her, then obviously leave a like on this video and comment down below just some stuff, ideas that you think, not only about Flampe and how she is in the world, but some other stuff that you think are interesting about One Piece which no one is talking about, right? I really want to get into the, habit of making videos that no one's actually talking about, because those are the most interesting ones, I feel, because no one's talking about them. So any interesting videos, any interesting thoughts about Flampe, about Oda, about other stuff in the One Piece world that you'd like to drop down, feel free. Maybe we'll make a video about it and talk about it. As always, guys, like this video if you like the video, subscribe for more content like this. If you know someone who needs to hear the truth about how great Flampe of a character Flampe is, you don't have to like her personality, you just have to like the genius behind it. But then if you know someone who needs to hear all this, share this video with them. If you have time, watch one of my other videos, and if not, thank you for watching this video to the end, guys. I was so busy before, and these past 2 months have been so bad because as soon as I started being busy, I got sick, and then I've been recovering. So now hopefully nothing will stop us from making videos, but I don't know. I've got actual video topics to make, so watch out. Hopefully we'll get onto them, and as always, guys, see you in the next one.